stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leave him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beach dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay-at-home Disney dad.
Let's do Alice in Wonderland. I got some good stories in the chamber ready to unload for this one. We get an odd animated graphic for the Disney Classic Collection and it stays on the screen way too long. What a bizarre start to this VHS tape, but you know, you wouldn't expect anything less with Alice in Wonderland. We start with the credits first, so this movie, it be old. Should probably look up the year, but this is funny. I just typed Alice in Wonderland into Google and what pops up first? What mental illness does Alice have? And what drugs was the author on when they wrote Alice in Wonderland? Awesome. I've never seen more than the first 35 minutes of this, more on that later, but I feel like I've seen the whole thing because I've been hearing about it my whole life. Big hit within the drug community. This is their Disney movie. We start and it looks like Bo Peep is leaning against a tree reading a book by herself, but then a foot dangles down and Alice is up in the tree. This is a history lesson. Girls in trees, that's not the way I remember history. Alice complains that this book has no pictures. Teacher says there's some great books that don't have pictures. Alice is not in her world, and then she starts talking nonsense, just starts puking weird contradictions, and yeah, I get it, this kid is high. As an adult, you can recognize this behavior, all right? She's singing, so while she does that, I'm gonna brainstorm what else I remember about this movie or about hearing about it. There's a pill that makes you small then big. People say that's supposed to be birth control or something. There's a Jefferson Airplane song about this movie. I've seen the clip of the Queen of Hearts saying, "Off with our heads," and playing croquet with people, like as the balls, like she hits them with mallets. I don't know what's going on in this movie. There's a tea party with a Mad Hatter, which someone at DC Comics took the idea of a character who likes hats and used that idea to create a supervillain who's actually a better antagonist than he has any right to be for Batman. And I once watched the first 35 minutes of this movie because a girl I had a crush on asked me if I wanted to watch it, and I said I did. I didn't. I'll probably circle back around to that story later on. Okay. Alice sees a weird Flava Flav rabbit with a giant clock. He's late, he runs by, she follows him into a dark cavern, starts falling through nothing, and there's a floating rocking chair, and this is nonsense. She finds a talking doorknob who tells her to drink a mysterious substance. Perfect. Girl, this is the worst idea ever. Like, this is how we lose women. For real. She drinks it and shrinks, but then there's a treasure chest full of wafers that say, "Eat me." She does. She grows big and cries and floods the place. She ends up floating in a bottle in the sea of her own tears. She's inside a bottle like she's an SOS node. Only in this case, SOS would stand for script on some drug that starts with the letter S. Google. Speed doesn't really work. Okay, SOS would stand for script on Superman, because Superman is the street slang for LSD. Oh yeah, there it is. TheRecoveryVillage.com wouldn't make that up. Back to the movie, she's in the bottle, she's out of the bottle, everything is happening so quickly and it's all nonsense. There's a bird using an upside down bird as a boat. Sure. She sees the White Rabbit again, and here's Tweedledee and Tweedledum. She calls them peculiar little figures right to their faces. Now she's trying to leave them, they're blocking her. This movie has become less about drugs and more about every scary situation for women. There's a song about a walrus and a carpenter. What is going on? They end up underwater trying to trick a bunch of lobsters to take a walk with them so they can eat them. Tricking someone into going for a walk with them when in reality you just want to murder and eat them. Yeah, okay, I'll add that to the list of dangers women face on a regular basis. I don't know, probably. The walrus and the carpenter are now sharing a meal, but then the walrus tricks the carpenter into getting some bread and then eats the entire basket of baby oysters himself. They ask Alice about the moral of the story. She says, "It's a bad story if you're an oyster." Girl, run, you're the oyster. She gets away from those two and sees the White Rabbit. Even White Rabbit sounds like he's some sort of drug. Okay, no, hold on. White Rabbit is the name of the Jefferson Airplane song about drugs. We've come full circle. I'll get this. This was not the take on Alice in Wonderland I was expecting to have. The weird bird is back. What he needs is a lizard with a ladder, and then there's one. Okay, do you ever see one of those high concept movies or shorts that makes no sense but is universally loved, and you just know that 99% of the people that stand there and claim they love it say that only because they are afraid they're going to look stupid if they say they didn't get it? Like, they talk themselves into thinking if they didn't get it, they must be stupid, so everyone pretends there's a deeper meaning to something when really there's not. It's all smoke and mirrors. That's this movie. Only the smoke smells like skunk. Now Alice has grown large again and everyone is concerned with her size, and she's so big she's stuck inside a house, and they decide they will burn the house down to get her out. She gets out on her own and isn't burnt alive by society for being a large woman. She meets some bread in the jungle, talking jungle bread, why not? And the flowers are haunted. She likes to finish my former thought. Does this actually mean anything, or is this the first movie to just throw random images and nonsensical situations at you, hoping to trick you into assuming this is high concept art and making you feel scared you'll be branded a simpleton if you don't get it? Okay, Alice is singing with the haunted flowers. Gal can hit the high notes. The flowers ask what kind of flower she is. She says, "Oh, I'm not a flower at all." The old flowers are now judging her appearance and clothes, and they call her a weed. I'm telling you, this movie is about the women go through for just being women. She gets tossed in the river, and I guess she got deflowered. The worm thing with human hands that smokes opiums here, forgot about that. I have to say, not a fan of this movie, but I really like Alice. Like, I like the character herself. I like the way she's animated and she acts and moves. The caterpillar is talking and saying nothing. He blows smoke in Alice's face. He totally tries mansplaining stuff to her and she storms off. He calls her back and tells her to keep her temper. It might be the caffeine, but I swear this is an honest-to-God movie about the crap women deal with every day. He needles this poor girl until she storms off, then he calls her back and scolds her for being moody. She says she's tired of only being 3 inches. She's tired... We're back to the growing and shrinking thing. She eats bread and grows, then shrinks. Here we are, another character I had forgotten about. Cheshire Cat. He's creepier than I would have expected or liked him to have been. Okay, we're at the tea party. It's an unbirthday. Mad Hatter and the Rabbit are fun, but also weird and dark, and I have no idea what to think about this movie still. But I kind of get it. It makes no sense, but there's definitely an allure to it. Like, this is the kid version of what I was trying to explain before. Like, I imagine watching this as a kid, and the stuff you don't understand forces your mind to create all these adult situations and themes this movie is probably nodding to, which you know goes over your head now, but you're aware and curious what it actually all means. The Hatter dunks and eats a plate. That happens. This movie's kind of winning me over now. I hate that it's winning me over, but it is. It doesn't make sense, but I'm leaning into the fact that Alice is constantly in danger, tries to act casual like she isn't aware she could be murdered at any given second by any one of these characters, but she actually is aware of that. Reviewing this movie is like trying to review a clarinet covered in ketchup and carpet and stuffed into an upside-down tennis racket bag. The rabbit runs by and Mad Hatter tells him he's late because his clock is 2 days late. The rabbit cuts a cup in half and says, half a cup coming up. Now, as a compulsive coffee drinker and caffeine fiend, I'm getting nervous. This is how people view me. Like, this is how I actually look and act in the world. Alice bails. At one point, Alice says, "Please, no more nonsense." Preach, girl. Some things make an arrow and show her a red road, but a dog with a broom for a head brushes it away. I've given up trying to make sense. You win, Disney. Gonna turn off the old mind and just keep going. The purple cat is back. Alice is crying. She wants to go home. He tells her to go see the Queen. Oh God, there's sad cardboard people smearing blood on bushes. I've died and I'm watching TV in hell. This is hell TV. Okay, no, they're painting the roses, right? Painting the roses, yeah, okay, I get it. The Queen will kill them by decapitation if her roses are not red. Then they sing a song about how they don't want their corpses decapitated. Now we have dancing cards. They all collapse flat to the ground, and Alice collapses as well, which is weird because she is far from flat. Red Queen shows up and sees white roses and commands the cards to lose their heads. The other card soldiers drag the 3 painters away, and I assume they are taken off screen and actually executed, like beheaded, like severed at the neck. Oh boy, the Queen of Hearts is all passive aggressive with Alice and asks if she likes croquet. Ha! I did remember that, right. So back to my story about watching this in high school with a girl I was interested in. She invited me over for lunch and asked if I like Disney movies. Oh yeah, totally. Let's watch one. I love Disney movies. Oh yeah, feel free to judge me. I'm just further propping up my point about this movie is actually all about the crap you have to put up with for being a girl. This movie even unearthed a flashback about me kind of being crappy towards women. Just lying to her face and trying to make it look like we have more in common than we did. This movie, there's something here. Alice in Wonderland, am I right? All right, Alice starts talking to the Cheshire Cat, but only Alice can see the cat. The cat makes the Queen fall over, and the Queen commands Alice to now be beheaded. They convince her to have a trial for Alice. Now we have a weird courtroom scene. Nonsense. I would love to see the voice actress in the booth screaming these lines for the Queen of Hearts. Something you don't think about, but just imagine doing these yelling lines over and over and over until you get it right. The Hatter and Rabbit show up and tell everyone it's the Queen's unbirthday, but the Queen still calls off with her head for Alice, but Alice eats more bread and grows big. Alice accidentally fat shames the Queen, but then shrinks back down, and that's not good. Chase scene, she ends up in the tea, but now the tea is a huge river. She's back at the talking door handle. She peeks through it and she sees herself asleep under the tree. The teacher wakes her up and it was all a dream. And it ends. Just like that. The third act was like 90 seconds long. All right. What the did I just watch?
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.